Hello, my name is Caesar, and this is my walk away video. Truth be told, I've probably been walking away for many years, not really understanding uh, why or what, but needless to say that I have been walking away. I'm walking away from the hate. I'm walking away from the vitriol and the anger. I'm walking away from the lies. Um, when I was a young boy, I remember how strongly democratic and liberal my family was. I was, and truth be told, I mean, we're talking about many, many, many years ago at this point. Some of the liberal programs that were instated did help my mother, help us children, her kids, through some of those social service programs. So I'm thankful for those, and I believe that there is a place for them, and that they do help. But I remember growing up in the projects and always hearing these politicians talk about how they were going to do this for us and that for us, food and money, and everyone's going to have a job and this sort of thing. I didn't really necessarily see that. One of the things that I do remember is my mom found work, and she was working at this factory, it was going great, and she didn't need to be on those social service programs and that sort of thing. And I remember thinking, that's pretty cool. And then I went through high school in the 80s, and I was just kind of seeing the same kind of things in the inner city where I grew up in. Not seeing a lot of change, but hearing the same democratic liberals espouse these same things, again, over and over again. Jobs, get you out of poverty, this, that, and the other. And just kind of thinking to myself, well, I don't see it. And even, there's issues with the mainstream media now, and people calling it fake news, this, that, and the other. But, I remember, at least for the last 40 years or so, me saying to myself, it's kind of always been a little fake news. It seemed like it, even, back then, that the stories were not, I don't know, there seemed something off about them. And then now, we're in the era where we're in, where it's manufactured news. All the stations are all repeating the same things over and over again, trying to get you to believe what it is that they want you to believe, to create their paradigm in your mind so that you can adopt it. I remember breaking away from that when I joined the military and served in the Marine Corps, and my president was Ronald Reagan. And I remember serving under him, and and saying to myself, well, the Democratic Party is not, I don't believe where it's at. And he was speaking about these great things of individualism, and achieving things on your own, and these sort of things. These resonated with me, and so I said, well, I guess I'll become a Republican now. And then Ronald Reagan's time came and went, and the first George Bush became president, and I quickly figured out that this guy was nothing like Ronald Reagan in any way whatsoever. And I said to myself, I don't know if I can still be a Republican. But, I figure, well, maybe he's just a different type of Republican. And he had his term in office, and some of the things that he espoused, I didn't really understand what he was talking about when he said, bringing in the new world order, these sort of things, And then I remember when Clinton got elected, and he actually had some of the older kind of JFK in a certain sense kind of ideals and mindsets, and then I quickly found out that this guy had some issues, which were unpresidential, and believed certain things, with the NAFTA and all this, opening up all these borders and letting, free trade, which is fine to a degree, but the way that it was created seemed a little imbalanced to me. But still, I stayed a conservative, and that sort of thing. And here we are now, with the current state of affairs, this current president, and I didn't vote for him. I voted for Jill Stein. I was actually, in a certain sense, backing Bernie Sanders as well. And then I saw how the Democratic Party basically cheated him and were trying to ruin his movement. And then I started to really, really get what it is that this current Democratic Party is all about. Deceptions and lies, talking about helping the inner city. Over the last 40 years that I'm aware of, and even before then, nothing has changed. They keep going to the minorities, to the Hispanics like myself, to the blacks, and they get their vote, but then they don't do anything with it. The Republicans, like Paul Ryan and others of his type, I guess they're called Never Trumpers, they were no better. They seem to have their own agendas, their own, globalist type of agendas, which I didn't agree with as well. So, that's why I voted the way that I did, because neither one was, meant anything to me, and I didn't agree with either one. And so here I am, I hear all this hatred and all this vitriol being spit at our current president, and I've been around for a while, and I've seen Donald Trump, and I hear all these things about him being called a racist, and I gotta be honest with you, over the last, I'm 53 now, so, at least since I've been paying attention for the last 40 years, no one has ever accused Trump of being a racist, ever. Now, to me, these things they're saying about him now, it's the very first time that I've heard it, and I'm like, well, that doesn't line up with the guy that I've known in the media, and through different things and stuff, that he's a racist. It doesn't line up. He's never been accused of that. And then they say these things about him and the women and the this and the that. But, the reality is that, we don't know. I don't know. Listen, the guy's been married a few times, whatever, okay? Who am I to judge that? I think that these things are, I think these people blow these things up bigger than they are. And I don't agree with this president 100% at all, but, I do agree with the tax cuts. And, as much as the Democrats may say that it means nothing, my paycheck has gone up. It has gone up quite a bit. And it's going to continue to go up. And if he makes another round of tax cuts, it's going to help even more. So, I'm walking away from believing these Democratic lies. I'm walking away from these never Trump Republicans that really have their own interests, their own globalist interests. I'm walking away from the Paul Ryan types. I'm walking away from the Maxine Waters types, from the Chuck Schumer types, from the Mitch McConnell types, from the Pelosi types. I'm walking away from them. And, you know, I come against hatred against white people. I come against hatred of the police. I come against hatred of anyone based on the simple fact that they may not agree with your position. I come against the violence that I've seen, all of it, on either side. I don't care. I come against all of that, and I walk away from it. I welcome free thought. That's what I want to be known for. In my own mind, I want to be able to say that I'm a free thinker. And realistically, I think that the thing that could come out of this is that there's a third party created, a fourth party, who knows. But this two-party system is no good. And all I want is for America to succeed. I want America to be the very best that it can possibly be, not only for my benefit, for the benefit of my children, which they're currently playing on their playscape right now. But that's who I care about. I care for my wife, my children, my family, and I want the best for them. I want the best for this country, and I want the rule of law to be upheld, and I want truth and righteousness and justice to ring forth. And it's only by people walking away from these paradigms that people are trying to put on them, walking away from that and getting together and accepting that we all have individual thoughts and different ideas, but that we're all at the end just humans, and we need to love one another and care for one another and just live our lives as freely as possible and allowed to be as successful as possible. So that's my walk away story. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Bye-bye.